Let's talk herd.
That's my favorite way to be in relationship with Dusty and with horses right now, is just in that herd-based space. And I think there has been such profound learning that's happened. And I think I touched on this very briefly when we first started having this conversation, and kind of my pathway. And it wasn't until I went to the organization that was near our home here in North Carolina and started doing some volunteer work that I actually was kind of guided into the space of being in a more observational space with horses. And there were so many things that I learned in being able to observe a horse being a horse.
Yeah.
I mean, things that I just never thought possible. And that has gifted me with, I think getting into more subtle levels of, my own feeling and intuition and sensory ability. And at the same time, I feel that I'm just blown away by how I feel that it feels very honoring to the horse. And the responses that have come from different horses, it's one of my favorite things to do is just go out into the field. I rarely have a chair, but sometimes I do. Most of the time I'm just like plopping down on the ground and just sitting. And I am always just in awe about just observing them. And, I think for me as a human, it's like I get curious of like what themes, how does this translate to me? And sometimes it is literally just sitting in quiet space. And other times, things come in as little highlights and, you almost get that little quiet voice that says, notice this happening right now. Notice the very subtle and graceful boundary setting that's happening between these two horses out here in the, in the field, or notice the super high energy where, the herd just took off and everybody was running or playing, and how that dynamic shifts back into going back to grazing.
Yeah.
And there's such beautiful relationships there that, for me and, and other people that I have, worked and shared space with, of like, wow, you can see these mirrors or parallels, in your own life. It's like, wow, sometimes it is hard for, I recognize I learn things about myself, how it's transitions are difficult for me. And I see, as horses functioning as a herd, I observe time and time again of just how easeful and how natural and how graceful transitions can be.
That's true.
And I realize and I learn, it's like, wow, I can really soften on myself there. Or I can really just acknowledge that, wow, transitions are difficult for me, as a person.